The games are underway, and DraftKings is bringing you to the podium. DraftKings free-to-play pools are available every day of the games in Tokyo and offering a free shot at up to $50,000 in total cash prizes. That's up to $50,000 up for grabs, and the best part is that it's free to play. DraftKings free-to-play pools are easy to enter. Just download the DraftKings app, go to pools, and choose from a wide variety of free contests for an opportunity to win cash prizes. All you have to do is answer a handful of questions around what you think is going to happen during that day's events and track your results throughout the evening to see if you will achieve a victory. Questions will range from medal count to questions specific to the USA team. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings app now and use promo code THPN when you sign up to get your free shot at up to $50,000 in total cash prizes every day of the games in Tokyo. Head to DraftKings Pools page to get your shot at huge cash prizes. That's promo code THPN for a limited time only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for full details.
Shoots it deflected right in. Pietrangelo save rebound. Stastny stopped by Pietrangelo. I don't believe that save. Neither does Peter Stastny. He can't believe the save that Pietrangelo just made on him as Frankie Sparkly. Now that maneuver there to stop and rob Peter Stastny. He should get 5 to 10 for that.
Hello and welcome to episode 42 of Tendy Talk, presented by the BLPA and the Hockey Podcast Networks. This week I chat with Frank Montuori, a goalie from New Jersey who is referred to me by my buddy Charles of Bone Jack Designs. I love conversations like this where I knew nothing about Frank going into it, other than the fact that he played goalie. So without further ado, let's get to the conversation with Frank. Frank, thanks for joining me on the podcast. Good to, finally connect. It's always fun to connect with other goalies and understand, kind of what their background is, where they're coming from, and why they play the game. So sure. I guess as we get started, how did you get into hockey to begin with?
Honestly, I just liked the way the puck sounded when it would hit the stick on television, and when we would go, to a game here and there. I fell in love with it. So right from there, I started playing, and it really was an addiction after that, to say the least.
And how old were you at that point?
About 6.
Okay.
6 years old.
Yeah.
And I started as a forward, learned how to skate and couldn't stop for about the first, 2-3 years, but got into it and then started playing hockey and switched to goalie, and it's been good ever since.
And when this was all going on, where were you at the time?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay.
Yep,
all right.
Yep. Born and raised.
So I'm taking it you're a big Devils fan then.
Yes, big Devils fan.
Yeah.
Had some season tickets for a while.
Nice. Well, and I mean, as a goalie, you had a pretty good one to look up to there for many years.
Yeah, I was very lucky with that. Believe me.
Yeah.
Even with the Rangers, I don't like them, but listen, they've had Mike Richter, Henrik Lundqvist. You can't go wrong. So I've been blessed to see some really good talent over the years.
I was always an Eddie Belfour fan, but I loved Richter, and just the way, knowing how small he was and the way he played, he was a competitor too. I mean, it's a shame his career ended the way it did.
It was with the head injuries, that's tough, but he was such a gritty goalie, man. He wouldn't take no, you know what I mean? There was no save he couldn't make. I like that about Richter.
I think there's something about goalies of that era, and one of the last ones you really see with this mentality is Marc-Andre Fleury, now my Blackhawks goalie.
Yes.
That just never give up on a play. mentality where you see some of these younger goalies that play that more of a blocking style where if there's not a chance, they're just kind of like, well, I guess the puck's going to go in. But, a guy like Richter, it was like there was no end of the play until the whistle was blown.
No,
And
and it's not like he was butterflying all day neither.
No.
This guy had to get creative at what he did, and I'm only 5'7", 5'8", so I took to that a lot because without that height, you're going to get beat constantly over your shoulders with the butterfly.
Yeah, his angles were impeccable in his.
Yes.
I mean, I remember there was a VHS video I had called Behind the Mask, and Mike Richter was on there, and they talked about his legs. And, they said they were like oak trees. They're just so big, but to have such massive muscle legs and be as flexible as he was, it's like, I don't know how he did it. Yeah.
He was he was like Gumby, honestly.
Yeah.
One of the first guys, him and like Hasek.
Yep.
I feel like where they had that unbelievable, they could stretch for any puck, know, and
there's that iconic picture of him where he's in like a full split save. He's turned around, his back is armed. He's got the glove on the goal line. And it's just like,
put the puck backwards.
How do you do that? I don't get it.
I would like to know if he knew how he did that. Or is that just natural reflex that he was graced with? You know what I mean? It's incredible.
Yeah,
it really is.
But we're talking. It's funny. You're a Devils fan. We're talking great praise about a Rangers,
right?
But Marty Brodeur wasn't any different. I mean, he was a guy. What I loved about Brodeur is you look at pictures of him and you could still see his hockey pants. Whereas today, why they even wear hockey pants, I don't know, because you can't see them. But he had such short pads. I mean, it was like just above his knees.
Even his chest protectors.
Yeah.
Even his chest protectors. Because we ended up having season tickets, we're able to be there. They're not a huge market team too. So you get a little more up close and personal with them. The Rangers, it's a little harder. Madison Square Garden, big draw, So even his top pads were nothing, very minuscule. Mm-hmm. And he had to change that, I think, maybe a little later into his career because he said he couldn't too many pucks to the ribs and it was too much after a while. But I personally don't even like wearing a lot of equipment like that.
Yep.
Well, I don't know how they do it.
It was fun to see him, still play that old 90s style as long as he did, breaking out the 2-pad stack and the poke check, some of these plays where I've told the story on the podcast before where I was showed up to a summer skate early and the high school team on the ice and another goalie. So they asked me if I wanted to skate and I pulled out a 2-pad stack and the kid just stopped. He's like, what do I do? I've never seen that before.
Amazement.
It's always funny. But in the beer leagues, goalie pulls it out and the other team, even though you stop them, they just love it. They're like, this is old time hockey.
Absolutely. I remember I was taught that. Like that was one of the saves that I was taught. 2-pad stacks were big time.
Yep.
In the 80s, 90s. So.
Well, I remember going to a goalie camp and learning skate save where you turn the skate over and, bring that stick up. Right. It's just so funny. I was talking to my very first episode guest, Dustin Smith, Bones from Instagram. And I said, we got to get together and do some content. And I need to teach them proper 2-pad stack recovery as it used to be taught. He's like, oh my God, yes, we need to do this.
No, it was drilled into my head to recover from a 2-pad stack.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because even like which way you went, if your stick was down, where's the stick placed on the 2-pad stack? Where
bring it back.
Or even, if you were laying down on your glove side, that stick, do you want the paddle coming down or do you have it up to cover more space?
That's right.
Because it was funny because I remember my goalie coach saying, you can turn that up for more space. But the blockers we had back then literally were waffle boards. He's like, there's no protection back here. So do you want to turn your,
You know what, Bo? In the heat of the moment, you will turn that thing upside down. Just not when I'm in practice in a goalie camp.
Right, exactly.
I still 2-pad stack to this day, man.
Me too.
The surprise coming down, I'll use the poke too. It works, man. These guys don't see it coming either. It's so old.
I've got it on my GoPro from this week's skate. I did a poke check 2-pad stack as the guy was
nice.
coming down, and puck went into the glove. He goes over and falls out. And he's in the air and he's already laughing. He's like, I haven't seen one of those in years.
Yeah, great save, man. Yeah. People are surprised by it still to this day because it's really, I don't even know if it's taught, to be honest.
I don't think so.
Goalie camp in ages. No. So Rick Hines, I don't even know if he's still running these things.
Yeah. Rick
St. Louis
Hines,
guy.
the John Elkins goalie camps you always saw
John
there.
Elkins. If you remember Goalies World magazine,
yeah,
those two were always in the back fighting for back cover.
Yep. Yeah, I got a few of those floating around.
Me too.
I came across them not that long ago and just got to get rid of them. My son started going through them, pulled a few of the posters out, and he's got them hiding somewhere in his room. Yeah. So
they were great.
You start skating around 5-6 years old in Jersey. What made you want to be a goalie?
I don't know. Like we played a lot, to be honest, we played a lot of roller hockey. Well,
yeah,
foot hockey, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I did like playing goal on the street. So the thing was, I was a pretty good forward. I didn't just come into goalie like not scoring goals. I scored a lot of goals my year, and my dad would tell me, you just still did not care. You were making goalie saves at the blue line.
Yeah.
And that was it, Yeah. Just something about it, I guess. You're out there all the time, I just didn't want to come off the ice neither.
Yeah, I get that. And it's funny because, we're talking about our era, and, you mentioned street hockey. I mean, Wayne's World made it famous, game
Absolutely.
off, game on.
That's it.
It was hard. Even kids who didn't play ice hockey, you drive around the neighborhoods, they're playing street hockey just as they would sandlot baseball in the day, where even here in Minnesota, I mean, there's probably 4 nets in the street in my neighborhood, but you don't see the kids out there playing organized games the way we did.
It wasn't the same.
They might go up there and work on their shots, but they're not playing those games like we used to. And
the battles, they were battttles, man.
Oh, God, yeah.
I have friends in Staten Island, New York, and cousins actually, and you would go there, and there would be 15, 20 kids, and they would play with a little piece of the electrical tape.
Yeah.
And that's what they would use. And everywhere you went, use something different, whether it be the ball, the yellow ball, tape, a puck. So it was cool. It was like going to away games, basically.
Yeah, it was funny. One of my buddies, his dad chewed, and he would take the empty chew containers, and his dad was also an electrician. So he'd fill them up with rocks, take the electrical tape, and just, make it as best as he could. And that's what we'd use in the alley at his place.
Awesome.
But I mean,
anything, man.
You probably had the plastic Milek goalie pads on too, didn't you?
Sure did. Where your foot sticks out and you need a steel toe.
Oh God,
awful.
I don't know how many toes I probably broke, but I never went to the hospital for them, so I don't know.
No.
But there had to have been a few broken toes from those days.
Absolutely, because they were great to slide on, but once you got hit the top, it was over with. And no helmet. Like I never wore a mask. I don't know if you did growing up playing.
I had that plastic Milek goalie mask.
Okay.
That was one of those things I saved up for it, and then got the spray paint out and the paintbrushes and started doing.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, there were times before you got that mask, you went out there with nothing on, but it was funny because I think we were better with our stick along the ice because of no toe protection. We got better at getting that stick in the way. And then because if we weren't wearing a mask, the one we were wearing was like not wearing one anyway. So our hands were better because we were trying to protect our head at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. Because now you look, I just got my son a pair of who was on the Corey Crawford was on, and it was a CCM.
Yeah,
and they're pretty impressive. These little street hockey pads.
Yep,
way better than anything I could have thought of having. Even the glove.
Some of the street hockey pads on the market today are better than the ice hockey pads we had on the market for us.
Yeah, seriously, they really are.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
So, at what age did you find yourself in the net?
I was about 8 years old when I really got in there.
Okay.
I'd say, I think I was a squirt. Probably my first year of squirt, I became a goalie.
Nice.
And then, kept it going from there. I was not very good in the beginning, though.
Very, very few goalies are very good at the beginning. It's, you got to first get the love of it, and then you got to, start learning how to play.
You said it, the love. Like, I fell in love with it, and it didn't matter. Like, I could have stunk. I was still going any day, anytime.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody from USA Hockey, and they're talking about their 31 and or 51 and 30 campaign to have 51% pro goalies US born by 2030, and
Yeah.
they have the saying of catch a puck, catch the bug. And I think that's really what it is. Once you feel that, it's like,
It,
oh, this is pretty cool. I love
it's
it.
something about it,
Yeah.
There's, I don't
It-
know. And you know what also drew me into the net? Even like back in the day, not so much now. I see more generic helmets. I loved the helmets and just the way like goalies can make it kind of a fashion thing. Like we're kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I feel like we're all kind of like that. Where it was ours, how we did it. Everybody can tell who I am just by my equipment and my gear and whatever's on my mask. That was a big thing for me too. I like that.
yeah. And it's interesting you say it, because I've had this conversation with a lot of people of just that style of goalie mask. It was much simpler, but you could
Hmm.
tell what it was from the stamps. You didn't,
Absolutely.
some of the stuff today is incredible. The artists have done incredible things,
Sure.
but I really like when I could see what it is from my
I can't
seat or from
tell
the
half of
TV.
them.
You
Even
know,
like there, you know?
some were able to adapt it, like Brodeur toward the end. He had the same style,
Yes.
paint job, but when you got close up, there were what I'll call Easter eggs, where there was certain stuff that was for him that
Yeah.
you could see.
That's a great way to put it.
I think that's kind of the cool evolution of the mask. But
Sure.
Scott Darling, as much as I love him for what he means to the Blackhawks and their championship runs,
Hmm.
some of his early helmets, they just looked like they were all red. But once you got on
Yeah.
top of them, it was like, oh my God, this thing is amazing.
There's so much
Um,
more, right?
and you mentioned Corey Crawford. I think that was one of the unique things about him was he a kept the same style, design on his mask for multiple
Sure.
seasons, not changing it up 4 or 5 times in a season,
Very rare.
and it was clean.
Yeah.
It was a
Yes.
little more busy than say the 90s, but
Yeah.
you could still tell what it was when you were watching on TV or whatnot. And
That's it.
I liked it. And you're starting to see a little bit of that come back. Holtby's mask in Vancouver was
Yeah.
really cool like that.
Hopefully, I feel he's got a little more age to him, so maybe that's why. I don't know. He
Yeah.
still gets he still gets it. But I like the way you put it with the Easter eggs. There's too many now. I think in a
Mhm.
lot of guys' helmets. Like I can't keep up with it. I like the simple stuff. Steve Shields had who was it? Terry Sawchuk's face maybe
Mhm.
when he was on. I forget what team he was on at the time.
Well, yeah,
But just
it,
easy
it
things like
was.
that.
Yeah, it was the Jerry
Boston
Cheevers
was
Boston mask with the
Cheevers.
stitches.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was
Yes.
the first one with that kind of
That was awesome.
full mask. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at Richter with just you got you got the point of it. It
Yep.
said New York. You had the Statue of Liberty. It was done, and these guys didn't switch masks
Nope.
ever. They might have switched brands a little bit, but that paint job, that was their
Yeah.
calling card, and
Well,
that was like a superhero.
look at guys like Cujo and Eddie Belfour. They took
Mm-hmm.
that design with them.
First ever,
Yeah,
first two ever. I feel like.
yeah, it was just so cool. So back to your playing days. You're
Yep.
playing goalie. How far did you go? Did you play high school hockey in New Jersey?
Yeah.
What was your journey like?
So I started just playing, regular A hockey, and I really got into it. So then, luckily for me, my parents got me out of the program I was in, moved me to a better program, and I was able to build up from there. So ended up going to high school, played for Bayonne High School varsity team all 4 years. Actually won a state championship my sophomore year and got to play at the Meadowlands,
Oh, nice.
where the Devils played out of back-to-back years. We ended up going back and losing, but I made it all the way to Johnson and Wales division. It's like Division 2-3 kind of NCAA.
Mhm.
But when I got there, hockey turned into a job kind of, and I wasn't really ready for that.
Yeah.
And I was on my own, far away from home, and kids being kids type thing. So
Yeah.
I liked hockey, but I liked other things too. So
Yeah, there were other influences. No, I totally
Exactly.
know what you mean. Because when I got to college, it was like,
it's mind blowing, to be honest.
October 1st was when we could start working with our coaches. But
Hmm.
the first day, sophomore year on, the day you got to the rink, you're finding your teammates going, "Hey, let's go skate tonight at the rink."
All the time.
And freshman year it was trying to find out in the first week when do we start captain's practices, and it was 5 to 6 days a week until
Oh yeah,
we could start with coaches, and then it was 6 days a week.
nonstop.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, my high school program ran a similar. You know, we couldn't get with the coach until about November, but we had 1 week in August where we would always run our camp. So you know, you'd do your off ice and all that stuff. But again, I just felt unprepared for what it was going to be when you got there.
Yeah.
You know, the long road trips. It was a lot at first, and I don't know if they teach goalies or even forwards better now to be prepared for that, but I wish they would have taught me a little more.
Well, I think the regiment these kids go through today is almost more rigorous than what we had in college in those days.
It's possible.
You know, just the video reviews and, you know, the individual skill development that these kids are going through at such young ages too. And I think that's honestly what's resulting in some of the burnout at the same time.
Yeah.
Is they're going through so much of it and they're not able to just play unstructured hockey like we were able to as much
That's
as we
right.
did.
My dad wouldn't even let me play in the summer. You know, I could probably hit a camp here and there, but we came down, you know, we went to the beach and all that type of stuff, take a break, get away from the ice, come back end of August and, you know, be ready to go. And once you get to a point, you don't need to play every single day. You could take a little break and come back and still be ready to go because, you know, it's muscle memory and it doesn't go anywhere.
Well, I don't know. COVID has proved different for me.
Well, yeah, now it's then as you get older, I totally, you know, but as a kid, I felt like I could take that time off. But yeah, COVID's been crazy to say the least.
When I was coaching, you know, we told the kids the same thing. It's like, you need to take that time away, play those other sports. Now, I was one of those kids. I didn't want to play the other sports. It was my decision, not mom and dad's. It was my decision. I loved the game so much that's all I did. You know, it's just me
Same.
on the ice every time, you know, but like your parents, it was, hey, we have stuff going on this summer. We're going on vacation. You're coming with. No questions asked. And it was like, okay, all right. You know, and it was good. It wasn't.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, if there was camps or something in the area, sure, they'd shoot me down because, you know, Turcotte stick handling used to come through all the time and always need goalies. And I was like, please, anytime you come through, I'll stand the net for days. So that they would, you know, but just a little bit, just to wet my beak a little bit in the summer, they would give me just to stay in shape and then take those 4 or 5 weeks off.
Yeah, I totally get that. So you play through, you know, into the college years. I'm sensing that, like a lot of us, you probably took some time away from the game after that.
Had to. Just needed it, man. It was a lot. And but you miss it. Like I ended up wanting to go back. Like I only played 1 year of college. And then when I took off from there, not a year or two later, I started thinking, I'm still pretty young. Maybe I can make a push. So I thought about it. I got back in shape, went for some tryouts. Probably could have did it. The one team folded. It was a junior team. It would have been my last year able to play juniors. And then I was like, you know what? Let's go to the men's circuit and see what happens. Because you love it so much. It's really hard to get away from.
Yeah. And, you know, the beer league circuit is so fun because you're not playing. I mean, there is the competition side of it, but you learn you're not playing for the W as much as you were anymore. You're playing for the fun.
Yep.
You're playing for, you know, the true love of the game. And
that guy next to you is doing the same thing.
Yep.
That's the cool part about it.
There's times in the games where everybody's going hard, and then all of a sudden, you know, somebody lets up, they're like, "No, I got to go to work tomorrow, guys."
That's it. There's no need to beat the crap out of one another.
Yeah,
you know.
But
it could get intense. Like there was a few leagues when I got back into it that you have kids coming home from college, whether it be or juniors, and you could still find top-notch hockey right now if you wanted to, and it's there. So that's another good thing too. If you want it, it's there for sure. You know, if you're fearing.
Summer leagues always get a little more competitive because you got those guys back. In fact, my skate this week, there was a kid skating out there. Call him a kid. He was probably close to 30. He had his AHL helmet on, and I was like, okay,
nice.
Where were you playing this year? He's like, San Diego. I was like, okay, that explains why you rifled one past me as fast as you did.
You just don't know the rules yet, buddy. That's all it is.
Well, I mean, he's trying, you know, it was actually on the first day of free agency. So it's like, you're trying to stay in shape, get yourself a contract.
Sure.
So, go bar down.
You can't just turn it off. You know,
No.
yeah, no. That's why I never got mad at somebody. We'd be in these tournaments up in Canada, getting our butts kicked maybe, and a guy would rip a shot. How's he supposed to turn that off and not know to, I never got mad at that. It's just a game.
Yeah.
That never bothered me.
Yeah. I was skating one summer. I was home in Chicago, and there were a couple guys in the show and minor leagues out there, and
Mm-hmm.
they were really good at it. If somebody else had the puck, it was just okay. I'm not gonna go and take it away from them like I could, but you can tell we were stifling them, so they actually wound up having their own ice right before us pretty quickly. It was like, all right, we can't just show up to the rat hockey and skate with you guys. I mean, we had Father Murray, who is a 78-year-old retired Navy chaplain, skating with us. We had one fellow who was in the construction business that cut two of his fingers
Really?
off, so his hand looked like this, and so
oh my,
yeah, he was definitely not on the hands line, that's for sure.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, so like, yeah, you guys
it's
aren't
still good
get
fun
better
though.
skating with us. I mean, they were great with us, and very respectful.
They tend to understand.
Yeah, but then when they needed a goalie for their skate, and they asked me, it's like, yeah, and then they were going all in because it was all pros, and it was like, yeah, you guys are shooting a little harder than you were last week. Right.
I don't even know how I would fare with that anymore neither. It's hard, I started thinking too. I was out there a few weeks ago. I'm like, I can't remember the last time I had a practice, like a competitive practice.
Oh yeah.
Just those are the things I miss the most. Like, you could play games all you want, but it was that in between time where the camaraderie, being in the locker room, there's so much more that goes into hockey than just the game.
Yeah.
That's what I miss more than anything.
I think when hockey players say they miss the locker room, they miss the locker room on practice day.
Yes.
Because the stupid stuff,
the wackiness,
the comments, the pranks, the goofiness that happens before and after practice. I mean, it was not
mayhem.
We had a rink on campus in college, and it was not uncommon for us to start showing up 2 hours before the skate just to hang out. And
same here in high school. We had the same deal. It was right on our campus.
Yeah.
So that was it. We were there the whole time.
I was talking to one of my teammates the other day, and we agreed it's a good thing we didn't have cell phones or social media back then, because none of us would have a job today. And it's not like we did terrible stuff, but it was still stupid stuff that would have come back.
The littlest things today forget about it. It would be the same. Same deal.
Although the one we all kind of laugh about and feel bad about is my sophomore year, this kid's freshman year. We're broken up as captain's practices into 2 groups. I'm in the early session. This kid's in the second session. So he's leaves the locker room. He's going on the ice, and we all just get off from an hour-and-a-half skate. And we're tired, and we're like, dude, he's got fruit roll-ups in his locker. So some of the guys rifle through the fruit roll-ups and finish them. They're like, this is great. About 15 minutes later, he comes, rushing into the locker room. Just has this look on his face.
Oh, no.
He's like, who ate my fruit roll-ups? And we're like, dude, come down. We'll get you more. He's like, who ate them? Where are they? And we're like, dude, they're gone. We'll get you more. And he's like, I'm a diabetic. My blood sugar is low. And we're like, oh, shit. So then somebody runs to the trainer. Luckily, the trainer had a Snickers bar she was going to have. And after that, he roll-ups in the trainer's room.
No more touching the fruit roll-ups. That's it.
But it was just so funny. Like, dude, calm down. They're only fruit roll-ups.
Yeah, come on. What do you mean? It's the wackiness.
Yeah.
I love that.
Then he's like, well, he's like, I can't be too mad. I didn't tell you guys I was a diabetic, and that's what they were in there for. But still, don't be touching my stuff.
You should know better than to leave any type of fruit roll-up, candy, anything around a bunch of hockey guys, man. Especially in the locker room.
Yeah.
Nothing safe.
That was one of those days. So God love him.
Yeah.
So what brought you back to, the beer leagues and kind of skating?
I grew up in Bayonne, New Jersey. If you ever heard of Hoboken, Jersey City, it's literally 3 miles outside of Manhattan, New York City. And a lot of people were just hockey fans where I grew up at and played hockey. So that's why we fared so well growing up, because I met my friends when I was 5, just skating at the rink. And we all went to grammar school, high school, and played hockey together. So that being said, years go by, everybody comes home from college or who's just working. And a couple of my buddies were like, you got to play. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We're not asking any other goalie. And I was like, I'll try one game. And one game turned into now 12, 14 years now, 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It just ate me up. And it was, I had fun. I was like, wow, okay, this is kind of like getting back into the swing of things without that huge competitiveness. And like you said, not caring so much about the win. You get it. If not, we're still going in the parking lot to have a couple extra sodas and whatnot. You know what I mean?
Yep. Parking lot beers are
that's
the
it.
best. In fact, I was talking to that one fellow, Bones, and asked me, what's the worst post-game beer you've had? And he's from Nashville. He goes, I came up to Minnesota for a skate, and we had parking lot beers after the game. Problem was, the game was in February. He's like, what's wrong with you guys drinking outside, not in the locker room?
Reason. No way.
Like, well,
no way. We used to do the same though. We would go out in the parking lot and just that's so some rinks just wouldn't let us drink in there. So whatever.
Yeah,
it's only New Jersey. It ain't too bad.
I didn't ask what rink. I did ask, and he didn't remember. I said, depending on the rink, they probably just didn't allow it in the locker room because we always stay in the locker room. And there's the one rink that actually has a bar connected to it. They don't like you necessarily drinking in the locker room, but as long as you take your empties with you and they don't know about it, they turn a blind eye.
And it's whatever. Then you come upstairs and drink a few.
Yeah, but if you're leaving them in the garbage can, then the next week they have a word with you. But it's
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, coming back to men's league hockey, my addiction for the game, like, I think it grew even more than when I was playing regular competitive hockey, because there's something to it when like the NHL isn't there anymore and you don't really have to worry about it. It wasn't like you know what I mean? Not even worry, like perform for who knows who's going to be there. That's how I felt every time I stepped on the ice. I would have to play my best because who knows who's watching you. You might catch a free ride tonight.
Right.
You never knew. So that being out of the game made it a little more fun too. Like, don't get me wrong, I still want to win, but the next day I still got to go home to my wife and son and go to work. So it gave it a different feel for me anyway.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had, since I've gone back to playing, I've only had one injury. I pulled the groin, and my wife's like, hey, old man, you're not as young and limber as you used to be. Like, come on now.
in our heads we are, though. I could still do everything I could do when I was 17.
And that's the funniest thing. There's been times where my mind is saying, you can do this, and my body just stops and is like, nope, you're not doing it. They score the goal, and I just kind of go, body said no, fellas. Like, we get it.
Sometimes the bones just don't go that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The limbs just want to stop nowadays.
Yeah. And then there's other times where I just see what's unfolding, and it's like, I'm not going to put myself in danger there.
No, that's what it could be at this point. Danger. Yeah. Without a doubt. Yeah. I know when there's another guy on him, it's every now and again you catch the superstar that is still into his thing. And that's when I'm like, all right. Yeah. If I get you shooting hard at me, you're scoring 1 million goals, you can tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But
every once in a while you run into that guy who thinks that the scouts are still showing up, even though there's nobody in the stands.
There's nobody, not even a broken stick.
They've even turned off the live barn feed because it's just purely and
for real.
It's like then I try and turn it up a notch. Like, all right, if you're gonna be like that, I'm gonna make sure you go home frustrated.
I got to show off a little bit if you're gonna try to do your thing too.
Yeah,
I got some tricks up my sleeve too here.
Yeah, there was one game where he was just the clear ringer, and teammates clearly weren't happy that he was trying to just pile on, and I kept stopping him. And after the game, one of the guys is like, thank you. he needed some humbling.
Yeah, they really do. It's true. I've had that a couple times too. Like, thank you for doing that for us, because these guys don't realize it. It's like, calm down, buddy. I get you want to be good and play your best, but do it a little less. You know what I mean? Like, play your best. Just don't show us all. You know what I mean? There's a way.
One of my teammates, who's a teammate of mine in college, actually, so he's too good to play in our division, but he wants to be with the guys, so he hangs back, he plays defense, and he doesn't put a puck on net unless we need a goal. You know, otherwise
I know those guys.
otherwise it's just looking for the, set somebody up. It's like,
Sure.
we got a couple of those guys in the league and they're great because one, I know I don't have to worry about them shooting if they have the lead.
That's it.
And two, that they're just out there to be with the guys, not necessarily.
Yes.
And
it's like a workout.
Yeah, but I do know if they're trailing late in the game, I got to watch out for them. I got to know where they're at on the ice at all times.
Sure. Because they don't want to lose neither,
Yeah.
But I like that.
This kicks in.
A guy that's that good, they know that's how it should be played, right? If they're playing against a bunch of guys who aren't that great, make those nice passes, set people up. Yeah. Granted, I get it. You need a goal. Come on, now we can play.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we do a thing, 24 hours of hockey.
Yeah.
It's a great benefit up in Long Island, New York. I forget what charity it goes to, but you literally, so there's about 20 teams, I think, and it's a bunch of old-time NHLers, Benoit Hogue, Adam Graves, Stefan Matteau, I forget who else, but a bunch of other guys, and you play 24 hours.
Yep.
So about 7 games, and the NHLers come down, and it's the same deal. They can score when they want to, but they're just there setting everybody up. But Benoit Hogue, I stopped him one time. So he comes down coming down my left side. I swear on anything, this man probably has to be in his late 40s to 50s now.
Yep.
Blasted a snapshot by my blocker. I still haven't moved. That's how good these guys are. And can show you, that's all it takes is one little, they're a different breed, man.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. The one summer when I was skating with those guys that were playing in the NHL, just by happenstance, it was post 9/11. So my dad, he was a fireman, and he actually responded to New York. And after he came back, they put him in the Office of Emergency Management. And his office was right across the street from the rink. So he'd come over on his lunchtime and watch me skate with these guys, which was just awesome.
Yeah.
And, Joey Corvo, who he played for a couple teams. So we went to the finals with Ottawa. He's coming down on a breakaway, and Joe, he was the kind of guy where he wants to show off a little bit in those situations. And he makes a move and I don't bite. And all of a sudden I just make a split save and just stop him. He broke his stick on the board. He was just so upset. And
it must have felt good.
What felt good was I looked up to see my dad standing there and just the big smile on his face, pumping his fist. And then I look over at the bench and just see all these other NHLers just laughing,
just chuckling at him,
chirping at him like, "Oh, you got stopped by the college kid."
That's good.
Yeah,
that's my dad too. Say your dad. My dad was always on to my glove side, so he would either be laughing when somebody like Benoit Hogue or Bill Guerin snipes one by me at a camp, or cheering me on right over there. Same deal. That reminds me of that too.
That was one of those. I think our parents, there's the term beer goggles when they're talking about seeing a girl that maybe is not as good looking as we anticipate.
Sure.
I think our parents always have some beer goggles on when they're looking at our true talents, because I was a JV all-star in college. I wasn't going to play pro, but mom and dad still thought if I kept pushing else, maybe I could play in Europe, get a shot here or there. It's guys, no. My shot is in the beer league.
My mom was the same way. But my dad was more of the real, not real, but more of the listen, it's going to be tough. You can do it, but I felt I blew my chance. I had to try out with the Texas Tornado. I don't even know if they still exist.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, one of my teammates, who's now the New Jersey goalie coach, Dave Rogalski, he played for them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this had to be 2001 or 2 when I had the tryout.
That was
they called me up. So I get there. We come from New Jersey. I think it was up in Massachusetts of all places for a Texas team. But my first night, I play unbelievable. Seriously, out of my mind. The coach, because what you did was 2 scrimmages, so 2 45-minute games, 2 goalies on each team. So the coach I had's I'm gonna write you a good write-up, this, that, and the third. So now I'm having a great Friday night. Just played the first game. Saturday morning, I didn't know this. 8 a.m. they throw the actual team at me. So first of all, it's 8 a.m. I don't do anything good at 8 a.m., but no excuse. I ended up giving about 12 goals. Horrible. And right then and there, I knew like that might have been your chance. I think you threw it out. And sure enough, don't get me wrong. I went to college and played and stuff, but that was it. Like, when you get there and it's harder than anyone ever could have thought it was.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're playing the same game, but the step up from level to level and how big that step is incredible.
I had a kid in college. He was from Philly. He was dumb as bricks, but that's why he ended up coming to D3. Could have went anywhere D1. Just the way this kid would come down, you're working a drill and practice, and he would just come down to your wing. There's something with guys in the NHL and that are just nasty that have a way of making like they're shooting, and they haven't even shot the puck yet.
Yep.
And then that shot comes, and it's like they lull you to sleep a little bit. And that's when to me, that's when I knew, wow, these guys are special. They could do things that we can't do.
Or then there's the kids,
and he was unbelievable.
Have that shot. You'll understand what I'm talking about. Other goalies understand it too. And, shooters and other people are like, what are you talking about? It's not necessarily a fast shot, but it's a hard shot, which is almost
like heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a kid on our team, Ian Benz, and he had a shot. You felt it every time we're in practice.
Sure.
If we saw him coming down the boards, me and this other goalie, we just get out of the net and we're like, no, we have enough bruises already. We got a game tomorrow. We're not doing
seriously.
This. He's like, come on, and we're like, no, stop aiming for our shoulders.
You could just, anything it hits, you hear it in the ring. It gives that echo, that boom.
Yeah.
And just we had a kid, Leo Smith, who he was like 6'2", and he just knew how to just hit a puck, just knew how to do it.
Yep.
And it was heavy and hard, and it would hurt. It hit you in the right places. Those pucks hurt.
And it was funny because we had a skills competition where coach got the radar gun from the baseball team, and guys are taking slap shots, and we're like, okay, yeah, that's what we expect. They're in the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
The hard ones. And then this kid comes up and it was like 75, 80 miles an hour. We're like, no. We're like, make him do his snapshot because
maybe it's that.
Because that was a shot, was a snapshot.
Sure.
Same speed. And we're like, no, that can't be right. And so one of us wound up getting in the net and we're like, yeah, that felt right. But what's the speed? And they're like 75, 80 miles an hour. We're like,
yeah.
We just don't understand the physics behind it.
No, you just took the words out of my mouth. There's something with the physics where some of these guys just know maybe where to hit the puck on the stick, and it does something special. I don't know, but I know what you mean. I know that shot.
Yeah, I think it's more of like the spin that
they're doing something with it because this kid didn't have much of a shot. Like he was one of the guys that was with us from the jump, and he wasn't all that great. He was okay. He started coming into his size, but that's when he ended up getting this. Maybe it's like you said, the spin and the heaviness to his shot. Once he hit that, and then he became the full player. He was pretty much the full package. But strange and funny how he came into his own like that.
Yeah, it's always funny when you get those shooters, and
you would have never thought it.
Every goalie knows that hard shot versus that fast shot, and I'll take those fast ones over the hard shots any day. Any day
of the week.
Yeah, because some of those really fast ones, it's like a feather hitting you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And those heavy ones too. Now you're breaking lumber. So now I got to buy a new stick half the time, things of this nature. And I don't even want to spend more money than I have to. I couldn't imagine getting hit with one of them today. I bought a stick. It was like $260.
Yeah.
For a goalie stick. I was like, wait, you sure you sold me a stick and not a skate?
You sold me only one?
Yeah. Wait, like seriously, seriously, going into a store these days is nuts.
Yeah, in college we would get 3 for $20, and it was like, I'd like to bring that back.
Right? Just give me a 2-piece with the blades, and if you have to, whatever. Like these sticks, I feel break easier than anything, and they shoot so hard.
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
So, aside from playing beer league hockey, I always like to ask the goalies, what do you do away from the rink to kind of find some peace and enjoyment?
I hang with my son a lot. He's 6, but by myself, I like to golf, like a lot of other hockey players.
Yeah,
I fell in love with that. Probably like 16 years ago, I was coming out of high school, and we had nothing. It's like, what do we do now? You know, we're not really playing hockey. So I got into golf, and all of a sudden it took over everything. Like the way hockey took me over, this
Yeah.
just jumped right in as the next thing, next expensive sport. And
Yeah.
I love it, man. I can't get enough of it. So I'm starting to get my son involved in it too, and he's starting to like it.
See,
So it's something.
I've tried golf, but I've never been good at it. I don't think I've
Patience.
shot under 150 ever. So
I like your honesty.
yeah, it's like I know I'm going to get my greens fees worth when I do go golfing, and as
Sure.
long as I'm with a good group of people to kill 4 hours, hey, what do
That's
I care?
it. You know, drink a couple beers,
Yeah,
take a couple shots, you're good. You know,
yeah.
but I did. I haven't taken it serious. I would love to maybe join a tournament, but I just try to golf as often as I can. That's really it.
One of the last times I golfed was at a resort in northern Minnesota. I was up there for work, and we had a 9:30 a.m. tee time, and the beverage cart comes around on the second hole, and she's like, "What do you guys want?" And the one guy's like, "I'll take an orange juice." It's like, "I'll have a water." She goes, "By the way, it's paid for the whole round." And it was like that scene from the Blues Brothers: orange whip, 3 orange whips all around, screwdrivers. And I swear, this girl on the beverage cart was hitting us like every 2 holes. And every time she came around, we got a drink. So by the time we got done with our 18 holes, we were not feeling anything. The only reason
I could imagine. So that's probably better off.
Yeah, the only reason we knew our scores is because the carts had this cool like GPS thing where you but we just
starting to get more and more
started counting to see how bad we could golf at that point.
That's good stuff. That's funny.
So you're getting your boy into golf. Is he getting into hockey too?
Yeah, he when COVID hit, he's 6 now. So when he was 4, I got him into a thing where the Devils were doing a learn to play. I'm sure they do it in Chicago too.
Yeah,
the whole NHL was doing it.
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota these days.
Or Minnesota.
Yeah, the Wild have that too, where it's like, I think it was like $100, and you go
they
to
give them
hockey
everything,
and you get all the equipment.
Yep, same deal.
Yeah,
I had him in that.
With my kids.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, he did learn some basics, but he was supposed to be 5. I snuck him in there. He was 4. Then COVID hits, so he wasn't that great at skating as it was. He was just starting to get it.
Yeah.
And then the beginning of the summer, there's a new team around near us for a youth team. So I got him going into the house league this year, and we're gonna see how he likes it. He's into it. We play hockey all day at home and on the street, so he's got the itch. It's just getting him now into the ice. Now that COVID's hopefully gone-ish, we can get him out there.
Yeah, here in Minnesota, we had the ponds and the backyard rinks to skate on. It was crazy. In normal years, there was maybe 3 in our neighborhood. Last year, I counted 12.
Oh my God, that's heaven. We don't get any. Our winters are just not cold enough.
Yep.
35, 25, but that's during the day. You're ended up going to 44. You're screwed.
Yeah.
Back in the day, though, we used to make them, and it would last longer.
Yeah, my kids don't play, but we had a rink in our backyard, and it got a lot of use.
No, it's great.
That's for
sure.
That
is great. One day I'm going to get him one in our backyard.
Yeah.
One day.
It was worth the hours of going out there and flooding and shoveling after they were done skating.
Absolutely. They love it, man. And it gives me a workout, to be honest. I'll leave, and I told them I'll put on the pads and you can shoot on me for all I care.
Yeah. Well, I did. I showed my kids the Steve Carell video where he was, because Steve Carell from The Office was a goalie, and he put a video out of him practicing by himself. It was, I don't know how well he played, back in the day, but the video itself
I'm sure it was hilarious.
And I showed it to my kids, and they're like, Dad, we have to recreate this. So, we wrote out the shot list and everything, and I had a day off of work and put the pads on, went on the backyard rink, and recreated
awesome.
it. It was fun because it was something I did with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that
it always makes it a little more special with them.
That
for
was
sure.
Fun. So you reached out to me because you found me on social. I'm assuming you've listened to the podcast too.
Yes, I have.
If so, you know that I like to end episodes with a list of 10 rapid fire questions that tend to take a little bit of time.
Okay.
So what is the craziest coaching moment from your playing days?
Oh, man. All right.
You're from Jersey, so there's got to be some good ones.
Yeah, no, there's a million of them.
Some
All right.
table flips or something like that.
It wasn't even a table flip. It was so more for. All right, we had a team in Staten Island, New York. We played for the Staten Island Sharks. The coach, his son played for the team, but the coach was whacked out. Screamed all the time and had spit coming out. So the last tournament we go to, the parents and the coach, it's the last game ever for us. They get bombed.
Mm-hmm.
So we play the game. We end up losing. This guy jumps on the ice with the folding chair, whips it across the ice hits the glass. There was had to be, looked like a million people there. He is now on his knees playing the air guitar, telling the ref a bunch of explicit things that he can't go. Both nets come down, and he finally walks off the ice, gives everybody the finger, and walks away. We were happy because we never had to play for him again, but
nice.
It was crazy at the time. The parents were a little embarrassed. Yeah. He's done some other things that I cannot talk about on here.
So the next one is, we talked about him a little bit, but what's your favorite all-time goalie mask?
I'm going to have to say Hayward, Sharks.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite of all time.
I liked that one. So what is your favorite rink that you've played at?
That's a tough question. I did not expect that one. Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's a nice one to skate at.
Yeah. Played a couple of games there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just have to think, looking up and just seeing that ceiling of theirs and how cool that was.
It was amazing. And, I played at the Meadowlands too, so that was probably another one. But something about the Garden, as much as I hate the Rangers, it was crazy special.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden is world known.
World known. I'm just going to put you on the charger right now.
No problem. Switch it up. No problem. This is when I always like to ask the goalies: is what's your favorite stick that you've ever used?
Favorite stick?
Yeah.
Probably a Helite. Maybe the Heaton Gatekeeper.
That was a good stick.
That was a good stick. I enjoyed that stick.
Yeah.
The black and red one.
Yep.
That could have the Helite 4, maybe.
I never owned one, but at goalie camps, I had other goalies that had them, and of course, you're swapping equipment, testing it out, and
oh yeah,
that was a good one.
That was I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite youth hockey memory?
Probably another one. So, my first time playing at Madison Square Garden was when I was a mite and I was a forward, and I scored 2 goals there.
Oh,
so
nice.
that, and then the following year, I was a goalie and got my first ever shutout. Well, second ever shutout there, but first real game shutout, kind of.
Nice.
The following year, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's the best chirp you've heard? Directed at you, not directed at you, from you?
Yeah, man. A good chirp. Holy crap. Oh, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, to be honest. A guy, you know what? Stefan Matteau, we did the 24 hours of hockey.
Yeah.
My buddy sat next to him on the bench and explained to him that I was a huge Brodeur fan. So he knew the whole thing, comes down, scores on me. As he's coming around the net, he tells me, "Hey, sorry for the summer of 1994. That was pretty good, I thought. I mean, I've heard better, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, those are the ones I like, though. It's like they're not offensive in any real way, but they're still just out of the blue, like, oh,
and just hit home.
Hurt.
Yeah, just totally hit home with it. I was like, I wasn't expecting it at all.
They're the ones where even as the recipient, you can't help but laugh.
You really can't. And he was really a good guy, so it made life a little easier to take.
So what's the worst post-game beer you've had?
I'm sorry, what was that?
The worst post-game beer.
Worst post-game beer. We had an outside game. This was in 2016. The beer wasn't so bad, but it was so cold outside after we would crack them open, you couldn't even sip them because they were frozen in a heartbeat. And in New Jersey, that type of stuff don't happen.
Yeah.
So we didn't know what to do.
See, for me, it's anything that's warm.
Yeah, any warm. Yeah. But if you can't drink it, it was, it wasn't even a good slush.
Yeah.
I figured at least slush it up.
Yeah. Icicle beer is not good.
Yeah, no. Right in the middle. Got to be right in the middle.
When you tape your stick, do you go heel to toe or toe to heel?
I go heel to toe.
Okay, all right. I'll say you're a normal goalie then. It also tells me you're probably like me and don't play the puck much, because all the goalies I know that go toe to heel are big into playing the puck.
Toe to heel, unless I play the puck all the time. As a matter of fact, yeah, that was one of the biggest things in my game. My dad always, who taught me, because he, I guess, taped my sticks when I was a forward. So I just watched him and went toe to heel. But when I tape a forward stick, I go heel to toe to heel, and then I go heel to toe for goalie.
Okay.
Strange.
It doesn't surprise me that you like to play the puck, being a Brodeur fan.
Dude, you know who got me into it? Gilles Villemure was my first ever goalie coach. And I did one-on-one lessons with him. And he made me buy a straight blade, no curve. Mm-hmm. And before every practice, 30 minutes, I had to stand in the corner and rifle pucks. And I couldn't have been more than 9 years old, 8 or 9. And I swear to God, from that time forward, you ask anyone I played with, they loved it because he taught me, and then Brodeur came along, and it was just like a match made in heaven.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's really what got me so far, I feel like.
Yeah, I do like the fact that there's more emphasis on teaching goaltenders how to play the puck these days.
Sure.
Much more than when we were younger.
Yeah, I think they need it, man.
Yeah.
To be that third defenseman back there is so big.
Yeah.
It really throws off other teams like you wouldn't believe.
If he can get that quick transition and catch them off balance, or, even
exactly,
if you can get that teammate of yours that's always cherry picking on the far blue line.
and that's what I was going for, that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I was playing a state playoff game. We were in triple overtime. And it was one of those games where there was supposed to be open skate. Our game was still going on. Open skate got canceled because we were still playing. And then there was a beer league game after open skate. And both teams are fully dressed, sitting in the stands watching our game, just waiting for the end, while the next team's just waiting to get into the locker room because we're still in ours.
Oh my gosh.
And my one teammate, TJ, he's just standing on the far blue line, waving his stick like, hey, down here. And finally, somebody just goes for that touch, that Hail Mary pass. He gets it, goes in and scores. And
absolutely.
I stood there for a second, like, please skate back my way to celebrate because I don't have much energy left. And then when they did, it was like, okay, it just skated slowly to the other end to celebrate the team.
I'll never forget too. I was watching a Rangers game with my dad. Tom Barrasso was in net for Pittsburgh, and this is when I had just first started really getting into goalie. And Barrasso comes out. I believe it was the playoffs too, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. He hits Yager or Lemieux with a beautiful pass, crisp, right. He put it over the defenseman, right onto the blade. And my dad goes, "You see, that is something goalies don't do much. If you can do that, you'll stick out and you will be better." And sure enough, my dad was right. At a time where goalies really weren't, he put it in my mind outside of Jill's, and I loved it. I never scored a goal. I've had my chances.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a goalie, though.
I came close in one beer league game. We were playing a team, and we had a father-son on the team at the time. The dad's going into the corner, and some guy just comes and cross-checks him from behind. Well, his kid's on the ice, and he comes and just takes this guy out. So these two are going at it. And then their goalie comes out of the crease and starts throwing his blocker. Jesus. We were up like 6-7 goals at this point, and there were 8 minutes in the game. And so the ref throws the 3 who are fighting out. One of them is the goalie, and the other team's like, "Hey, we don't have a goalie." It's like, goalie should have thought about that before he started throwing punches.
That's right.
Let's be honest. The game's out of hand anyway when we look at the scoreboard. And so, like my teammates, they stopped trying to score. We wound up scoring one more goal. And it was a attempted icing attempt that wound up in the net. But every time they're leaving the zone, I'm yelling like, "Hey, back here, back here!" None of them would
Yeah.
So like the last, I think there were 18 seconds left on the clock. My defenseman's skating out of the zone. Finally, he hears me and it clicks what I'm trying to do. So I get the puck and I send it down. And there were enough guys from the other team that could have stopped it, but they're like, okay,
let it go.
What's going on? They let it go, and it was because it was late in the game. It hits one of those little grooves in the ice and went that far.
That's all it takes.
It's like, oh my god! Like both teams are like, oh, is it went to the side?
It's so close.
Hit that piece. It was funny.
I've really tried hard though in my career, and I've had opportunities, man. I just can't get it in there. I've had a couple hit some stuff and go here and there, but just hasn't been meant to be yet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe one day I'll get it. I don't know.
You get it one of these days.
So when you play, what's your favorite number to wear and why?
Practice makes perfect.
So what's your favorite number to wear and why?
I wear 30.
Because of Brodeur?
Brodeur was, but when I couldn't wear 30, my other one was 29.
That's not a bad one.
For no reason, just because it was close to 30, I guess.
Well, for the longest time in our era, I'll say 29 was kind of that secondary goalie number.
Potvin kind of made it cool.
Yeah. Well, for me, it was Jimmy Waite because I couldn't like Potvin as a Hawks.
Jimmy Waite, that's right. But Jimmy Waite was a good goalie.
Yeah, he's a good goalie
very
coach
underrated
now too.
Yes, I seen that. He had another cool helmet.
Yeah,
his Blackhawk helmet was awesome.
Yeah, it was.
I forgot about that.
A lot of Blackhawk goalies had pretty sweet helmets.
He really did. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to have an unbelievable helmet.
That was one of the first things I said. I hope he plays because I was excited to see what is his helmet going to look like. Which, interestingly enough, his mask painter is the same guy that painted Corey Crawford's. So I'm sure he's already got some ideas.
Yeah, definitely.
And the pads.
The setup.
What's he going to do with
setup's
the pads? A lot of people are hoping he goes all red. I think if he goes red but incorporates like all the colors of the feathers the way Lehner did.
You watch what he's going to do. It's going to be something crazy. He's always been one of my favorite just for his setups, period.
Yep.
I'm not a butterfly guy by no means, but if I was to be, I would be him.
He's one of those goalies that you don't think he's all that good until he gets to this stage of his career and you start looking at everything he's accomplished and you see how good he is at
Amazing.
his age. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sad thing is, Matt Murray was playing so good at that time, and Fleury, I think, it just hit a path where he probably shouldn't even have been in Pittsburgh no more, maybe.
Right.
But handled it like a Hall of Famer would, and then he needed to see him win those cups because the stuff he's done in Vegas.
Yeah,
it's on. You're right. Watch his numbers, and you'd be like, "Wow, that guy is special."
And some of those teams he was on too. I mean, those early days in Pittsburgh were not easy.
Abysmal. They remind me of the Devils now, how they were. They weren't very good at all once Lemieux left and they got rid of Yager. They hadn't, once Hedberg got out of there too, it was over with.
I mean, when you got Ryan Whitney on the blue line, that says something.
Seriously. Times were tough, to say the least.
The last question is, what advice do you have for young goaltenders?
Don't get frustrated. Every day brings new opportunities. So you may have a bad day of practice, bad day in a game. Just know that there is tomorrow. Always give yourself 100%, give 100%, and you'll be just fine. You will make it.
Yep.
That's the best thing I could tell you.
Yeah.
Don't give up. If you want it, go get it.
That's good advice, not just for goalies, but life in general.
Yeah.
There's going to be bad days in life. Doesn't matter who you are.
There is. You're gonna have that day where you give up 12 goals. Trust me. Tomorrow you'll probably give up 0. It's really how it goes. All right. So that's it. There's always another game.
One of those days I gave up 12 goals. It was the day after Eddie Belfour was traded.
To where?
To San Jose.
Oh, the first trade. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a huge Belfour fan.
And
humongous.
My coach at the team banquet made the comment that he learned the valuable lesson not to start me on days after Belfour has been traded because I clearly wear my morning band around my eyes. So when I had Eddie on the podcast, I told him that, and he just started laughing.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, one of my best memories of Eddie Belfour, the 2000 Stanley Cup final, not his first game in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Every other game after game one, that man put on a clinic. A lot of people forget that him and Brodeur went 0-0
Yeah.
for about 3 or 4 overtimes in game 5. And they could have lost it all there. And Belfour said no. Like, he outplayed Brodeur by a mile. And it was impressive.
Yeah, he was my favorite goalie, not only because he played in Chicago, but when I started learning the craft of goaltending.
Yes.
Yeah, we had Patrick Waugh. Yeah, we had Martin Brodeur. But to me, Belfour was the complete package. He was kind of that blocking goalie, but also that athletic goalie. And then you had this oddball Dominic Hasek come through the system, and they traded him away. And everybody's like, how could they trade him away? It's like, you had Eddie Belfour in his best seasons, in my opinion.
Do you know? Yeah, it's like, do you know who they had?
Yeah. I mean,
seriously. Imagine if they kept Belfour. What happens? Or, all right, let's say they keep Hasek even.
Yeah.
Those two, they had to get rid of a Hall of Famer because they already had that Hall of Famer ready to go. He was there already.
Well, nobody really knew that Hasek would turn into what he did at that time.
No.
Like, hindsight is, I mean, they traded him for Christian Ruutu of all people.
Oh, that's so bad. But he really was just a backup. With he was a good prospect.
Yeah.
But nothing special.
No, he was a guy that he needed that opportunity to be a full-time goalie and not in the minors, because he was one of those guys where you throw him down in the minors, his play's gonna diminish. He needed
pucks shot at him as much as possible.
Yeah.
That guy.
I
think he could have been the best goalie. They say it's like Brodeur, Waugh. I think
it's Hasek
is definitely the best. Me too.
Hasek did things no other goalie has done. And people try to say it was because he didn't know what he was doing. But when you hear him talk, he's like, his barrel rolls and some of that stuff, he's going,
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he's like, they're in so close, they can't get the puck over me. So
that was all thought up with angles. And you put it this way. That guy had other Hall of Famers trying to beat him.
Yeah.
So when they say it, it's Hasek, man.
Yeah.
He was so amazing. Just amazing. He was amazing.
Yeah. We were really, I think, spoiled in that era, because you go around the horn. You have, Belfour, Brodeur, Hasek, Waugh, Cujo, Richter. You could throw Van Beesbrook in there.
And Beesbrook was nice.
Grant Fuhr was Andy Moog had some sweet years.
Andy Moog, John Casey was pretty good.
John Casey, Ron Tugnutt, Kelly Rudy.
Ron Tugnutt.
Even when you
Ron Tugnutt was a great dude.
Yeah.
I met him, the Ottawa Senators. Long story, when I was in high school, all NHL teams used to come practice at our rink on our campus.
Yeah.
So the Senators were there. They let us in their locker room after they were done. I tried on all of Tugnutt's equipment. Asked them all types of questions. They were giving us tape. And this Damian Rhodes, on the other hand, didn't really want to talk as much as Tugnutt did.
Yeah.
But they were both cool, to say the least.
I was fortunate enough to have Ron on the podcast early on. And we probably could have talked all day if he had a stronger internet connection.
Sure. I believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I was you, man, I would have these guys on for days if I could.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I'm trying to get more of them on. I've been fortunate to have 3 former NHLers.
Yeah.
Who've all been
which
phenomenal.
Is great. That's great. You do great work, man. So you will get them on. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm still trying to get my old teammate Rogalski on now that he's an NHL goalie coach. But
seriously, that's great.
Yeah.
Wow. Where is he coaching now?
He's the New Jersey Devils goalie coach.
He is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get him on because I had one of my other college teammates on, and Dave actually ended this kid's high school and college careers. So it's like, all right, I got to get Dave's side of the story now.
Yes, I would like to hear that. That would probably be good.
Well, Frank, before we end, where can folks find you on social media if they want to follow you?
Instagram is Montuori 30, Montuori 30. And that's really it, man. I don't do the Facebook thing, so I'm just an Instagram guy.
Nice. Well, it's been
Yep.
fun chatting.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We're recording a little late in the week, so I'm gonna finish up here. I'm gonna get to doing some editing here.
Well, you have fun. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Yeah. Frank reminds me of a few fellows from the old neighborhood, and I know he's probably a heck of a guy in the locker room too. Something also tells me he was probably the player on the team that organized team get-togethers off the ice. You can follow Frank on Instagram at Montuori30. That's Montuori 30. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube simply by searching for Wash Up Goalie and I'll pop up. Visit washupgoalie.com for some great hockey-related content, my beer league hockey video highlights that seem to become a little more regular of late, and of course, all podcast episodes. If you want some Wash Up Goalie or Tendy Talk apparel, be sure to visit my Threadless shop by clicking the merchandise link on my website. I recently got a few pieces, a t-shirt, sweatshirt, and something for my wife, and I'm pretty impressed with the quality of the stuff. If you like this podcast, go listen to the BLPA Big Show. It's the OG BLPA Podcast Network show where a couple of beer league players talk beer league hockey, draft experience shenanigans, and exploits from around the game. The show is hosted by Nick Jones and previous Tendy Talk guest Trish Dangle, with other co-hosts filling in occasionally. Be sure to check out the full lineup of hockey-related podcasts on the Hockey Podcast Network as well. There are way too many podcasts there to list, so be sure to check them out. I need to thank the band The Zambonis for allowing me to use their music on my podcast. You can download their music on iTunes or listen wherever you stream music from. I'm always working on lining up other goalies to talk to. If you are a goalie or have connections to a goalie who I should talk to, shoot me an email at washupgoalie39@gmail.com or send me a DM on social media. And let's not forget, if you're a brand that wants to sponsor the show, be sure to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. And finally, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment on the podcast platform you're listening on. It's a quick action on your part that helps others find Tendy Talk. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice and your body square to the puck.